Lounging, son.
Welcome back to the Comic Couch. My name is Ryan. With me, as always, is my boy Dill. We're here to talk our weekly reads. The 3 books we picked: Infinite Frontier, number 5, getting close to the end of that. Dark Ages, number 1, and Aquaman 80th Anniversary, the 100-page giant. It's a big boy. That's why we only did 3 books this week. On top of the fact that it was a really light week. Yeah, let's jump into it.
Let's jump into it. First, we're going to talk about Infinite Frontier. We're getting close to the end, and like everything's kind of coming to a head, and we kind of get an explanation as to motives and what exactly Psycho Pirate is kind of like, how he got everybody to like turn, right? How he has his little.
He's manipulating.
Yeah, he's manipulating, but like he's at the end of the day, everyone's upon the dark side. Can I just point out the cover of Infinite Frontier and all that dark side ass? Like, the dark side is fucking thick, boy.
I didn't find myself looking at Darkseid's ass when I looked at that cover.
It was just like the first thing I saw. It's like, holy crap! It's like, holy crap! Darkseid is just like out there, just in his fucking apocalyptic freaking tarantarans, just fucking manhandling on a chain.
His literally
that was like
rock
the first thing
hard
I noticed.
ass.
I'm like, damn, rock hard ass. I'm like,
right,
he does squats.
Yeah, all right. Enough about Darkseid's ass. Let's go to get into the story. So as you said, Psycho Pirate has been manipulating underneath Darkseid. Darkseid is the main puppeteer, right? But Psycho Pirate has been manipulating both Director Bones and what's his name, dude? Machine Head, right? No.
Yeah, Machine Head
from Earth 8, which is kind of like the Iron Man. Earth 8 is more of it's like the Marvel characters, right?
Yeah.
Like the analogs for Marvel characters, so that they can kind of like do like a version of Captain America, Iron Man, Thor, all that shit. So he's been manipulating both of them. And within that too, like there's this team being created that we get to see at the end of the book. But Psycho Pirate, like, he goes back to Crisis on Infinite Earths.
Keep on wanting to call him Psycho Mantis. I keep on wanting to call him Psycho Mantis.
It's on the tip of my tongue too. So it's interesting, like this is leading. I could almost bet money on another Crisis level event, right? And he is always kind of in the mix with Crisis level events. Started with Crisis on Infinite Earths, he was in Infinite Crisis. I feel like he might have been somewhere in Final Crisis, but that's neither here nor there. But I think
he was in Final Crisis. He was definitely in Final Crisis. He's remember he's the one who killed Batman.
He shot I thought the Omega beams. I thought the Omega beams went through Batman.
No, they did the thing where they kind of went around him.
Okay.
Remember?
It's been.
And then at the end, Superman's holding the skeletal body.
It's been a while since I read that. I kind of want to read it now. So it's, like this whole series is playing with the multiverse and the way it's affecting and the overlapping of different characters. And like we saw it with like Captain Atom, right? Like he was pretending to be our Earth's, I say our Earth, but Earth Zero's Captain Atom. And he wasn't, he was from somewhere else.
Right.
We have the, Director Bones has now reverted to his villainous ways, right? Like he's now wearing his old school costume and he's fighting the fucking JSA, which if I don't get a JSA book soon, I'm gonna start like tweeting at DC Comics and complaining. Like I will go that route because these
I'm actually loving
they're so underutilized, dude. If you read Jeff Johns' JSA, you would be as diehard of a JSA fan as I am. For a while, I liked JSA better than the JLA book. Like, without question. It was such a good fucking title. Because, everything is, like you said, coming to a head. We learn who, God damn it, what's...
Extract.
Yeah, we learn who Extract is, which
that was kind of cool. I was like, whoa, yo.
Yeah, I wouldn't have gone that... Like, that never would have come into my head. Like, that never would have... Those dots would have never connected to that character. So, I'm just loving... I'm loving what a real DC book this is. Like, it's a very DC. I don't know how else to describe it other than it touches on so many aspects of what I love about DC Comics. I've been saying it every issue we've talked about. Williamson, his love, his knowledge for DC, it all comes through here. Like, and multiverse is popular right now. The multiverse shit and all types of stories with
Yeah,
that.
multiverse is fucking trending like a motherfucker,
DC,
dude.
Marvel. I mean, Jason Aaron is going to be doing it. He teased it in the Free Comic Book Day. It's going to be, in the Avengers and stuff. They got a new book that they announced, Avengers Forever, which is kind of like a multiversal Avengers team. I would imagine. But we'll talk about that another time. But the Injustice Incarnate, there's like the
Justice Incarnate.
Is it Justice Incarnate? Is it that what they're called?
Yeah.
It's hard to fucking keep all these names.
It's Justice Incarnate and Injustice Incarnate.
Okay, I just all right.
A little derivative.
Yeah, I would have thought they would have done a different name. Yeah, I guess.
Oh yeah. So like basically, what the thing is about Injustice Incarnate though, like regardless of the name, I mean it kind of makes sense, right? Because when Psycho Pirate is like literally explaining everything, like he's kind of explaining an injustice that happens every time Earth Zero is involved with a reset of the multiverses. Sometimes worlds just get wiped away, right?
Yeah.
And it's an injustice, and it's like people of certain multiverses, certain worlds of the multiverse, like feel that's like not fair, just because I forget who says it, but they're like, I come from an Earth, like it was Machine Head. I come from an Earth that like was just completely wiped away, and all because Earth Zero like reset everything. What makes them so special? Everything revolves around Earth Zero. What makes them so special? Like, you know what I mean? Yeah. Why is my universe not as important as Earth Zero? Like, you know what I mean? So it's like, yeah. So the Injustice Incarnate thing, like that kind of that name kind of makes sense, right? Yeah. And the thing is about these guys though, it's like, I kind of get it. Like, I mean, I don't know if I agree with it or agree with what they're doing. Yeah,
like even as a fan, right?
I empathize. Yeah,
like, even as a fan, if you're a fan of a certain version, right, of like a different Earth's version of that character, and they just keep fucking DC, like let's say being meta, and DC just gets rid of that Earth, and like you forget about those characters, you don't see them, like that's annoying. It's annoying as a fan and as a reader because like some of these characters are really cool. They're really interesting. Whether it's President Superman. Or whether it's all the Earths we learned about in the multiversity, and like the Shazam Earth or the Earth 2, the Justice Society, like there's fans of those versions of characters, and when you just keep wiping them away when there's a crisis, or you wipe the entire multiverse away, like they did in Crisis on Infinite Earths, and they merged the Earths, and some characters were just kind of forgotten and erased. So it is kind of cool to see Williamson do it from like that kind of meta view, right? Like
perspective, yeah,
it's interesting, and I totally get why they're like, so we're not fucking important, so we just die because you guys are the more important Earth. But I mean, then on the flip side, like you get it because like, well, everything spins out from this Earth. There is a prime Earth, and then eventually, like when something like an idea or whatever, and it splinters off, and like now it's like an omniverse, like there's multiple multiverses within this, so it could get confusing, but like I do get I get the point of view from both.
Totally,
like
100%.
It doesn't seem super villainous at a certain point, because some of the characters are heroes in their own right from their Earths, like not all of them, but like Magog, right? Like he was a hero on his Earth, the Kingdom Come version of Earth Prime. Lady Quark, she was a hero. We got Fate, the dude with the fucking I forget the name. The Ankh on his face.
The Ankh.
Yeah. So, but then you also have like a fucking Jokerized Sinestro fucking core member, right? You have a Nazi fucking guy. You have Machine Head, who has now turned evil, and then you have Superwoman. It's a mix between people that are lean more towards hero, and then you got straight villain. So it's like that kind of makes it to where it doesn't necessarily seem villainous, even though there's villains in
it. The basis in which the team was put together, it makes sense.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's not just like, oh, we're gonna join together and Darkseid's gonna grant us all this power. no,
it's not white and black.
Not cartoon. It's not cartoon villainy too.
Right,
it's
right,
like, yeah, but at the end of the day, like they made a deal. They made a deal with the devil in dealing with Darkseid, and we all know what Darkseid's all about. Darkseid's about control, and I feel like they're kind of blinded by their own motives to realize that no matter where you go, no matter which universe you go to, Darkseid is
Darkseid is.
Darkseid is. So you know what I mean? So I mean that's an interesting thing that I've noticed. Like Darkseid is he's there's no different Darkseid. Maybe a different stage or a different stage in Darkseid's conquest is different, are the different Darkseids in different multiverses, right?
Yeah.
Right. And but a standout here is our boy Roy Harper.
That's right.
Yeah, definitely being the hero that Ollie raised him to be, right?
Yeah, and it's crazy that Batman during Death Metal is the reason Roy's alive because he.
Yeah, and I like how they use that. They circled back to that. That's a real cool thing, and that his ring is the same ring that Batman used, right?
They're saying he could become the new avatar for the Black Lanterns too. It's a turn I don't really I don't want to see this Roy Harper forever. I'm cool with it for now. I don't think he should be the Black Lantern or the avatar for the Black Lanterns. But I do like that. And what's weird too is he's not always a zombie, I guess, for lack of a better word to call him.
Yeah.
He's most people that wield the Black Lantern are dead.
Are dead. Dead.
You know what I mean? And the ring is keeping them alive.
Yeah, the ring is actually supposed to be their heartbeat. Like in Blackest Night, that was a big major thing. But I feel like with the overlapping of the multiverse, I feel like that kind of shook what that ring is. That ring technically should be a product of the Batman Who Laughs universes, right?
Yeah, I mean it's
so.
I don't even know where this is going to end.
Neither do I.
Because this, this series should be able to be read and have a beginning, middle, and end. But I feel like this is all set up for what we're going to get next.
I feel like this is phase one of Joshua Williamson's epic footprint on DC. He's already left the footprint. He's taken the first step. Now is the second step, but this is the phase one of that second step, right?
Right.
Because after this, he's going on to do whatever is the follow up to this. He's gonna start writing Batman. He's left his footprint on the Flash, so he can always circle back to what he wrote with that character. And Flash, even though we don't see a lot of him, he's a heavy role in this. He's the power battery, right? Barry or Wally, bro. What it always comes back down to, something that I realized as far as as much as I've been reading DC in the past couple of years, and everything that I read with DC in the past couple of years, everything always circles back to a Flash. This is all set up. You're right. This is definitely set up, and we're gonna get something. I think we're gonna get something epic. This is this crisis level event that's happening. It's gonna be huge.
I'm excited. I feel so Justice League Incarnate is going to be the book that spins out of this. It's going to be co-written by Williamson and Dennis Culver, right?
Okay.
And like you said, Batman's going to be coming out. But what I think, and Justice League Incarnate's only a 6-issue series too, so this is obviously going to set us up into next summer, where I'm hoping, and I feel like I'll be right, Williamson will be writing the next crisis level event, and it will be his event. I don't think that there's nobody else that's going to write that event. It has to be Joshua Williamson. He has been playing this long game, and I feel like you said with Flash, he's going to touch on stuff that was in there, that he set up in there, stuff that
it makes me want to catch up completely with his run. I'm volume 3 right now in his run, and I'm I have to catch up. I got to finish it all before, so I don't miss anything.
It was the most consistent run from the beginning of Rebirth until now, right? He was the only writer that stayed on from the beginning of Rebirth up until Death Metal,
right,
where we fucking not reset, but where we kind of are in this this new phase of Infinite Frontier, right?
Mm.
And yeah, I'm excited to see everything he continues to do, man. I think that he doesn't get enough. He does not get enough praise, and I keep
Yeah.
fucking saying it. It pisses me off. Like in comic shops, I'm like, why aren't you fuckers reading this book? Like Nick is not a DC guy, and
Yeah.
he's loving Infinite Frontier.
Yeah. No, I
You know
keep
what I
on telling
mean?
people you got to read Infinite Frontier, but people take it off their post. Oh, I'm just gonna trade wait. Like, dude, it comes out like every 2 weeks. Like, you don't
Yeah,
have to freaking wait for it at all.
yeah. I mean, I can kind of see if you're like on a budget.
Yeah.
Like this isn't necessarily like, do you need to have these single issues? Is it completely necessary? I think so because I think it's a good book, and if a book is really good, like why take it off your pull? I only take a book off my pull one of two reasons. It starts to be something I don't like and it's a chore to read, or if I like it but it's not necessarily my favorite and like eventually I'll get to it in graphic novel form. But if it's a series that I'm really digging, like why do I take it off? It makes no sense. Like I used to take Daredevil off my pull quite frequently because I was like, this is a chore. I'm not really digging what's going on. And then like my love for the character would make me go back, buy all the single issues because I'm like, no, I need to have it in my run. But
honestly, only things I take off my pull is if they're dense reads, right? Like that Texas Blood. I read the first issue and then I never continued because I wanted to trade weight and I felt like it was a story that would have been more cohesive read together.
correct.
You know what I mean?
And same thing with Strange.
Yeah, same thing with Strange Adventures. I read Strange Adventures in chunks. So I'll wait. So I waited, I got the first 3 when they came out, read them. And then I was like, you know what? I'll wait till 6. So 4, 5, 6, boom, read those 3. 7, 8, 9, boom, read those 3. And then now I'll have the last tail end of it. I think what
12
end of
comes
month?
out soon.
Yeah, end of the month. I want to say. So that way, because I feel like dense reads, like if there's too much of a gap in between them, I'm not gonna.
I feel like that's kind of what I feel like with Eternals.
Yeah.
The Kieran Gillen. So, like I've been reading it, but I got the trade because it came out yesterday because I want to read it with you, and I'm like, I feel like I might like it better if I read it all at once because it is kind of dense, and he does a little bit of charts, kind of like Hickman with the X-Men stuff. Like there's fucking text and stuff and connecting shit in the history of Eternals, which is really cool that he's like building out this like history with them.
Yeah.
But yeah, I feel you on the dense reads.
But
like, Frontier is not a dense read.
No, it's not a dense read at all.
Yeah.
And the thing is, it's like there's not a large gap in between it, like I just said. And I remembered everything that happened in every issue. Everything still remains fresh. You know what I mean? So there shouldn't be a reason why people we're trade waiting this. I mean, we're already like nearing the end, so it's a little too late now. But I think by the 3rd issue, a lot of people at the shop were like, okay, I'm just going to take this off my pull. I'm like, what, you're not feeling it? It's like, no, I'm just going to trade wait. I'm like, dude, it's like, it's going to be done in like a month.
Yeah, I know. I mean, people fucking like, they'll end it at like issue 5 at 6 issue series. I'm like, just buy the last issue. You already have the 5 preceding issues. Like, just fucking buy it. Right. But, something that I was going to trade wait, but I'm not going to anymore after reading the first issue is Dark Ages, my favorite book of the week by Tom Taylor, Ivan Coelho, Brian Reber, and Joe Sabino. This fucking book, I didn't read the description. I just kind of assumed that it was Deceased and Marvel. Like maybe not exactly the same story, but kind of that like post-apocalyptic type of fucking deal. And it is kind of, but it's so different. It is so fucking different than what Deceased was. Yeah. And before we get into it, I just want to say how fucking happy I was when I flipped to the first page and saw Mayday Parker, Peter and MJ's daughter. Fucking, like, I'm a huge Spider-Girl fan from, back when, I think it was like 98 when she was created. And I have a majority of her run. I'm trying to put together a complete run of the character because I always liked it, and I would have gaps where I was missing issues. But seeing her in here immediately tells you We are not in the 616.
No.
You know what I mean? We are on a different. And I figured we weren't going to be in 616. I didn't think it was the main universe, but it doesn't matter to me. Like, that's the thing about comics. Like, it doesn't need to be in continuity for me.
Yeah.
I don't need it to, like, quote unquote matter in terms of the overall line. I just want good comics. I just want a good story. And with this book, this is what I got. The art is great, and the story is fucking really dope, dude. Like, I was telling people, like, luckily, like, I mean, I don't know if I've said it here, but I'm leaving full time at the comic shop, so I was training the new guy on doing the eBay stuff. He was at the computer, so I was able to ring people up. I was able to talk to people, which is what I've been missing. And I was hyping the shit out of this book yesterday.
Yeah, dude. Okay, so everybody who's followed us long enough knows that you and I are Tom Taylor stans.
Yes.
Like, I will read anything he throws at us. He could write a Gumby book and I'll read it. Like, you know, and this is no different. Like, last week when we said, Marvel deceased, like, it was like, oh yeah, kind of, like, yeah, it was good. Like, we thought, I thought it was going to be something along those lines. In a sense, it is, right? In a sense, it is, because it's like narration from one person. Kind of, we're getting Peter Parker, but this time we know who it is off bat, as opposed to deceased. We didn't find out it was Lois Lane narrating until like the 5th issue, right?
Right.
But like, it's a narration, and it gives us kind of a backtrack. And this has all the makings of a good Tom Taylor book. It has, he captures the voices of characters perfectly. He captures Peter fucking spot on, because he's written Peter before, so he knows Peter. He gets the voices right. I love what he does with the Thing when they see the Celestial. Oh, this is gonna take a lot of clobbering. You know, he just gets the voices. Like all in all, he always gets the voices. And obviously this isn't canon because En Sabanur, Apocalypse. Also, the place setting in which he puts the X-Men, because the X-Men obviously are on Krakoa. Professor X doesn't have his dome head, and you know, so we're obviously like Ryan said with Mayday Parker, we're obviously in a different on a different Earth. But this all has all the makings of it. It has the feeling of impending doom, the heart in which Peter Parker is, and the great losses. There's a lot of losses in here.
The deaths, the way they take place too. It's just my God.
Yeah.
And you knew Todd Taylor's gonna kill people. You know, like in Deceased, he was killing people left and right. And obviously
the first issue of Deceased, he literally killed off the Bat family.
Yeah.
In the most horrible way possible. Alfred had to do it.
Oh, I know.
And in this, it's the heroes doing what they do best, be heroes, right? And it sucks because, like, I feel like that pretty much that entire team that went to go deal with this with the impending doom, essentially all got off, right? We got 1, 2, 3, 4. They pretty much got all off.
I just love how, like, for me, I love how it opened up. You have Luke Cage, Jessica Jones, and their daughter Danielle having just like a normal dinner with Peter, MJ, and Mayday. You know what I mean? Like, to me, I like that. I like those moments in comic books. You know, I like to see the characters underneath the mask. Now, I don't want entire issues where I don't see the heroes, right? Like, because then it's like, well, what am I reading? Like, it's not a superhero comics. I think that there needs to be that perfect blend of, you know, this not slice of life necessarily, but, you know, like those moments where they're not in a costume mixed in with the action. And I mean, just them having a normal fucking dinner, and then by page 3, seeing the impending doom, right? Like, and the way it's depicted is all the spider characters, fucking spider sense goes like fucking haywire, dude. It's intense, like the most intense feeling that they possibly could have got.
I love how Peter describes it too. It's like, I usually get crazy spider sense when Galactus is coming, but no, this is different. This is Galactus already eating the world. Like, damn.
So it's crazy, and like then you proceed to get the rest of the fucking Marvel universe, or this Marvel universe version, right? Like you have Moon Girl and Devil Dinosaur, right? You have them. You have the, like you said, you have the X-Men characters. You have Apocalypse. Just that image of him standing there, dude, is so menacing. And then the half profile with that fucking smirk, like some shit is about to fucking go down with him.
That's definitely pre-Coco Apocalypse.
And I miss this version of Apocalypse.
So do
I'm
I.
being completely honest. I like what they've done with him, but
I can't wait for the epic Apocalypse one-liners, because I don't know if anyone's familiar, but Apocalypse has like some of the best lines in the history of both the TV show and comic books ever.
Yeah,
like,
agreed. Oh,
he's an ancient, so he's a very well-read man. So whatever, when he speaks with authority. I just want to point out when it's going through the different cities, and when everything's all going to shit, I just want to point out that X-23 and Honey Badger are in it.
Yes, I was gonna say that as well.
So looking forward to that time.
Yeah.
Thanks, bud.
No, yeah. I mean, I'm fucking totally like, I'm loving this. The art is so dope. The scene where Spider-Man swings out of Luke Cage's apartment, and just that dynamic shot, the action, the pacing, everything that he's doing. Like, and he worked on Venom too. I think he took over art for Venom when Stegman stopped doing it, and Bagley was on there too. But I mean, this is like some of his best work, hands down. I'm just like, the fucking capturing the humor, the tension, all of those emotions. Like, there's so many different emotions going on, from the first pages where they're just having a dinner to like the deaths that take place, Vision losing his shit.
To Peter's panic.
Yeah.
Oh my god. And then the next page.
Yeah. So I don't want to. I won't ruin it anymore. But this is shaping up to be like possibly one of my favorite little Marvel miniseries. Yeah, it's not an event at all, but this is really dope. I really loved the first Deceased. I thought the preceding ones were okay. I still haven't read the third and final one, but
Dead Planet.
Yeah, I don't think I read that.
I like Dead Planet. I like Unkillables too. I didn't read the other one. Last Days of Hope, I think.
Yeah, I didn't read that. Was the digital.
I didn't read that.
So I didn't read that. I read Deceased and Unkillables. I did not read anything after that. But this
Dead Planet's good.
Yeah, I'll check it out.
It's Jonathan Kent and Damian Wayne as their father's mantles.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I'm definitely gonna read it. I love Tom Taylor, so this is dope, and I love that Tom Taylor's playing both sides. He's doing some dope shit with Marvel. He does dope shit with DC.
He gets to play in the whole toy box.
Yeah,
he literally is playing with the whole toy box.
Smart. He's smart, dude. He's smart. Don't pigeonhole yourself into one. Like, give us some of both, because he's written really dope stuff for Marvel. He's written some really dope stuff for DC, and he is quickly going into my top 5.
Yeah, and he has his own IP on Image. Oh, on Boom. I'm sorry.
Yeah, at Boom, and I'm just so excited to see what takes place, because like at the end of it all, at the end of this year, at the end of the issue, it jumps in time, and that's all I'm going to say. It jumps in time, and to be able to see what took place, how we got to this, I cannot fucking wait. This was to me, it was a 10 out of 10. Right. It was my favorite book of the week.
Yes,
complete with this dope ass Scotty Young cover. My God, dude,
it's waiting for me at the shop. That exact cover is waiting for me at the shop.
I don't often buy books for the covers like this. That's why I said I was going to trade weight this series. I was going to read it and then trade weight it, but then I was like, I need that Scotty Young cover, so I guess I'm buying.
Sometimes Scotty Young covers I just need them. Like the Wedding of Dr. Doom with him and Victorious, the Scotty Young cover. Yeah. I literally show Jackie that cover all the time. It's like, look at me and you.
We have a customer, really like one of my favorite customers, that buys every Scotty Young cover. So even if he's not getting the series, he wants us to pull the Scotty Young. I can only imagine how many fucking covers that dude has.
Yeah.
Because Scotty Young is consistently like, I don't think I've seen a month where there isn't at least one.
Yeah. I love where Scotty Young's art has come. You know what I mean? Like you can easily see like, you know, the Calvin and Hobbes influence. And not only that, there's humor in it. Like there's this like sketchbook humor to it that I love.
Yeah.
Like, you know, I don't know if like a sketchbook humor is it basically is like, you know, when you're flipping through someone's sketchbook, there's always inside jokes that the artist will put in there for himself. Like if you go through my sketchbook, there's drawings in there where it's just like just silly shit, right? And it's like those are sketchbook humors, and I feel like all his covers, especially ones with like caption bubbles, like those are that's him just like completely having fun with the characters that he loves. And
I mean, there's a joy to his art.
Yeah,
you know,
it's
and
so fun.
I just every time I look at a cover, I'm like, man, I love that cover. And I don't buy every single cover because, like, to me, if I'm gonna buy something just for the only for the cover, none of the contents inside, like, I want to be able to hang it up. And if I'm not gonna hang it up, it's just gonna sit in a short box. I'm like, well, why am I buying it then? You know what I mean? I might as well just buy a print. And but Scotty Young, dude, he kills it every time. Yeah. I love his fucking covers.
All in all, but circling back to content of the comic. All in all, I'm just gonna say this now, and I'm probably gonna say this when I retweet when we post this. Tom Taylor is overall my favorite writer right now. Overall, like I have not been disappointed by anything that he's done. Tom Taylor overall is like literally my favorite writer. I've not been disappointed by anything that he's written. There is nothing. I remember. Okay, I don't know if you saw my story when I put like the series that I'm really liking, like all the series that I'm currently reading and I'm really into. Like four or five of those were Tom Taylor books. I mean, he's got 7 Secrets.
I'm not reading that, so that one I have to. I almost texted you at the shop yesterday because I was like organizing trades. I was like, oh, 7 Secrets. I still haven't read Volume 1. I was thinking of like saying we should read that one for the podcast because I want to read. We should.
Okay, so 7 Secrets, Son of Kal-El, Nightwing. What else is he writing? A bunch of other stuff. Obviously now Dark Ages. Everything that he has his hand in, I'm with it. Like every time that he the Deadpool Red, Black, White, and Blood, his story was my favorite. Because you know Deadpool and Gabby, you know, like we literally just recorded an episode of friggin' all new Wolverine. There's been nothing that I was like, even Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man, like, you know, that's another one that went under a lot of people's radars, but I thought it was fantastic. I mean, Spider-Bite was whatever, but you know,
I didn't finish that run, so I'll definitely have to check that out. But yeah, I agree. You know what? He is in my top 5. I don't know why I said it. But see, for me, my top 5, it's like they're kind of all almost on equal footing.
Yeah.
And when I say top 5, it means that I'll buy any book.
Yeah.
That they do, right? Like if it's either trade or it's single issue. Sometimes I'm just like I cannot buy that many single issues on a monthly basis. Like it's just it gets out of control and you got to trim it, right? But I'll buy anything. Tom Taylor is a writer, I will buy anything. Joshua Williamson is a writer, I will buy anything. Hickman, anything.
Yeah.
Brubaker, anything. And Zdarsky, anything. I think that's 6 writers, right? See, and then what about Scott Snyder? It's like, it's hard for me to limit myself because I would even say I have 10 writers that I would buy anything that they put out.
Yeah.
You know
Al Ewing right now.
Al Ewing. Yeah.
If Kelly Thompson keeps continuing on with her with like how well she's been writing her stuff, I'm down. Kelly Thompson,
you need to read Captain Marvel. You need to catch up on that.
I'm gonna catch up on Captain Marvel.
That shit was dope.
Yeah, but like, you know, I mean, Gail Simone, whatever. If she
would just write more, yeah, I know.
Just as long as it's not Red Sonja, I'm down.
Anyways, all right, let's segue into the next book.
It's not because she writes Red Sonja bad. It's just like the character of Red Sonja herself is just not for me.
It's not for me either. But yeah, anyways, let's jump into before we go off on too much of a tangent because we got a lot to uncover with this Aquaman 80th. Let's talk that book. I don't think we need to touch on every single story.
Honestly, I just want to talk about like the ones that I really liked.
Yeah, let's just talk. I mean, because there's a lot of fucking stories in here. So most of my like the stories I liked were on the back end. My major complaint is that we didn't have enough older creative teams coming back to tell their story. Now, I don't know if it's DC didn't reach out or if it's the creators didn't want to do it. I would have liked to have seen Will Pfeiffer and Patrick Gleason come back and do a Sub Diego story. I think that would have been cool. I would have loved to have seen Kurt Busiek and Butch Geist come back and do a sort of Atlantis story that came out
Right.
post Infinite Crisis, the 5 years later stuff or 1 year later stuff. So like that's Peter David. I would have liked to have seen him come and do it. Like, so I don't know the behind the scenes. Maybe they reached out to these creators and they said no. But after getting such a phenomenal Green Arrow one, which I think
Green Arrow is
still,
my favorite.
I think it's the best anniversary one so far, by far, in my opinion. You know, and this one was middle of the ground for me. I was not blown away. I didn't think it was bad. I didn't. It's not like I thought some stories were okay, not super exciting. I think the Jeff Parker, Doc Shaner one was good. Mostly, I liked the art on that one. I thought that was, an okay story.
The standout ones for me were the Dan Waters story.
Okay.
The Jeff Johns story was really good too.
I thought the Jeff Johns one was one of my favorites because he's the one that he introduced us to Jackson Hyde, that version of Aqualad, right?
Yeah.
The son of Black Manta. So I thought that father-son moment was really dope. I thought that was really well written. It was a callback to that Aquaman series that he wrote. And
I just really like Black Manta. I'm glad he's getting his own kind of solo series coming up too.
So am I, which we should read next week, by the way.
Yeah.
So
Red Sea was one of my favorites too, obviously.
Yeah. So I think that the Red Sea one, the Red Sea one was written by Chuck Brown, Valentine Delangelo. That's the creative team. And Marissa Louise and Clayton Cowles. That's a creative team that we're going to see on the Black Manta book that comes out next week. Yeah. Which, some people will be like, "Why the fuck is there a Black Manta book?" Yeah, I don't really care. I'm down. If it's a good
down for Black Manta.
Yeah, I like that. For some reason, there's that design where it could look really dorky, but for some reason, to me, it looks badass. I don't know. Maybe it's just me.
Okay. When it isn't streamlined enough and it's too bulky in the head, like.
So we did already have a conversation about Aquaman. So the reason it just cut is because we lost the last 10 minutes of what we were saying. So we're going to try to streamline what we just discussed about the book, and kind of, I guess, recapture what our thoughts were.
Recapture the moment.
Recapture the moment. So I think so it left off where you were talking about the Aquaman or the Black Manta mask.
But the Black Manta mask, right. If it's well executed, it's well executed. So, if it's not, I've seen enough Black Manta masks that weren't executed well. That were just absolutely terrible.
Exactly.
But
so great. we also basically, I mean, let me just say my part and then you say your part. So basically, I think what I've said is the stories that really stood out to me were the story by Chuck Brown and Valentine Delangelo, the Red Sea, right? The Black Manta story that's going to lead us into the miniseries that comes out next week, and the Brandon Thomas, Diego Ortega, and Wade Von Graw Badger, Adriana Lucas, and World Design. That story with Jackson, and I really thought that those leading up get me more excited for those series that are about to drop.
Yeah, it's definitely hyping me up. Father's Day and Red Sea, I feel like, and Foreshadow, those stories, the Brandon Thomas, Dan Jurgens, and Jeff Johns stories, those stories are really going to play out in the future of Jackson and him becoming what we see in future state. And I'm really excited for that. And, this is, like I said, on what was it recorded? This is probably one of my second favorite, what do you call it? My second favorite anniversary issue. There, it wasn't that nothing was like you said, I wasn't recorded. It was not
Yeah.
that the stories were bad. It's just that nothing was just like didn't grab you, right? Didn't grab me as well. And for what little I know of Aquaman, like it's those particular stories that stood out to me. Like I know Jeff Johns had an incredible run. I haven't read it yet, but from what I hear, Jeff Johns had an incredible Aquaman run.
Yeah. And you mentioned the Dan Jurgens story too. Like I really loved that run, and I think that what I said on what I thought was recording was that I wish they would have kind of touched on some of the previous runs, like the Dan Jurgens one, and it calls back to like specific issues that he wrote, and how that tied in. I wish I would have seen the Will Pfeiffer, Patrick Gleason stuff, like I said, the Sub Diego stuff.
I love Patrick Gleason.
Yeah, and I think that overall, I wish that some of my thoughts, I can't remember exactly what I said, so I'm not going to try to like re-say what I thought, or what I said on the, what we thought was recording, but I think that overall Aquaman is not really shown enough love. I think that I've been an Aquaman fan for a long time. I have quite a bit of Aquaman comics in my collection, and I think that his cast of characters, they're great, dude. I mean, whether it's Garth, whether it's Mira, his villains are really, you mentioned before Orm, right? Like that story that Dan Waters did, like the dual narration,
dual perspective. Yeah,
that was really cool. I thought that was a really dope story, and I think that Aquaman has his fans. Like obviously there wasn't a large number of subs to this book, but I think that if given you put great creators on books, you can turn people into fans of the characters. And I think that Brandon Thomas, what he's got coming up with his the Aquaman The Becoming, he's got the Aquaman Green Arrow miniseries that's coming out, and then you got Chuck Brown doing the Black Manta. So I think that overall this was a fun anniversary issue. I love the anniversary issues, so I will continue to buy them. I think I did say earlier though was the Robin was probably right up there with the Green Arrow. I did like the Aquaman. I'm excited to see what else he's got cooking up in terms of more anniversary issues.
I'm really looking forward. I've become more of a fan of the anniversary issues as of late, because some of the earlier ones were kind of whatever, like I don't know, like I think I kind of poo-pooed both Action and Batman, because it's just like we get enough of them, right? We get enough. But like the ones, and like we know what's going on, like those seminal storylines we've all read or we've all know about. Like we're kind of like, oh, okay, kind of whatever. But like with Green Arrow, with Robin, with Aquaman, it's like you say, like it gives these characters a little bit more love. And what I really like about him is that we kind of get like a little dip back into those worlds, a dip back into the nostalgia factor, like of these fantastic runs of these characters and the stories that make these characters great, right? So so I'm looking forward. I think we got Wonder Woman coming up, right? So I'm down.
Yeah, of course.
I'm down for Wonder Woman. Wonder Woman is great. I've been reading a lot more Wonder Woman lately too. Like me getting into the DC stuff thanks to you. It's I really have an affinity for these characters now. Like who would have thought that I'd be sitting here saying, oh yeah, man, Black Manta is one of my favorite fucking villains. Like he's fucking awesome. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He's freaking great. Like, oh man, Ocean Master, this stupid starfish Finhead. I just fucking love that guy.
I think that and I've noticed that I've kind of started to get a lot more Marvel too, and I think that I think that both publishers have really great characters, but I do think that's because the Marvel movies are so in the public's eye that some people don't really pay attention to some of the DC characters, and I think DC has a rich cast of characters. I think that
absolutely, 100%.
I think a lot of them don't get the shine that they should.
I will say this, like this is something that I've always said, like Marvel has the more renowned characters, but the depth of characters that's found in DC. There's way more depth in a lot of DC characters. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not saying going so far as to say that like the Marvel characters aren't good or anything, but there's just like there's a lot of thought put into a lot of characters. Like, the Batman rogues, for instance, like those rogues are like some of the most well thought out, well characterized characters in the history of villainy. Everybody knows who Mr. Freeze is, even though they may have never read a Mr. Freeze.
I mean, the fucking Batman villains are more well known than some of the heroes the DC has. Like, that's crazy. Yeah.
So you know what I mean? Like, so there's definitely like there's such a rich cast that I feel like doesn't get utilized enough. Like, some of my favorite DC characters, like to this day, still don't have enough shine on them. Like Deadman. Like I'm always talking about Deadman. Boston Brand is one of my favorite characters ever. I love that guy. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I love Deadman too.
Zatanna is like, she recently became one of my favorites after watching Justice League Dark. After I watched that, I was like, yo, Zatanna's a fucking badass. And then I tried to absorb as many stories, and like come to find out she's always been a badass, right? Mm-hmm. Like, don't let the top hat fool you, right? Like,
yeah, and then for me, like the Question, right?
Yeah,
Green Arrow too, I think is not as big as I think he could be. Yeah, the Hawkman, I really dig Hawkman. I think his history is like really cool.
I gotta get into Hawkman.
You gotta read the Jeff Johns. Read the Jeff Johns Hawkman. It's really dope. I wish you guys could have heard our thoughts more on some of the Aquaman stuff, but I gotta get to work, so I can't like completely re-record all of what we said. But I think that we still gave some good thoughts on the book. I think it's worth picking up. I think that there's some really good stories in there, and a lot of cool foreshadowing of stuff to come for the Aquaman book. So
agreed.
Yeah, that's all I got for this week's books. You want to talk what we might possibly be recording for next week? I say possibly because Dylan is going to be a dad very soon, and he may or may not may or may not be at the hospital the day that we would normally be recording the books for this week coming up. But if he does not record with me, I'll do a little overhead and kind of go through the books and still share the thoughts on it. But let's tentatively what we will be recording together. Infinite Frontier 6 is coming out. So definitely going to talk that. What else were you thinking of wanting to record? I know Excellence returns.
Black Manta.
Oh, yeah, that's right. We already said that. Black Manta.
Black Manta. Excellence.
Yeah, so Excellence 11 is in the middle of an arc, but
I don't care. We're talking about it.
I don't really care either.
You guys can skip over that part. It'll probably be like a good 15-minute talk.
You guys can just fast forward. There's not too much. A bunch of second issues. So if you want,
Kazar.
Oh yeah, I was gonna say Kazar. Let's throw Kazar up in there. I'm down.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah,
so
I'm down for Kazar.
That's a weird mix of books. Kazar, Black Manta,
Excellence,
Infinite Frontier, and Excellence. Very odd collection.
That was such an odd collection.
Whatever. I'm down. And they're all
whatever. We were talking about doing Darkhawk last week, so
yeah. And then we read it and we're like, nah, we don't need to talk about it. So hopefully Kazar is not the same. Hopefully he doesn't get 86th before we record. He may just get 86. I don't know. But so those are the books.
So on Friday nights, like there's like a thing. It's become a tradition. Every time I work Friday nights, and we're 86 and stuff left and right, and 86 this, 86 that. I'll wait for a quiet moment, and I'll be like, 86 will live.
By the way, anybody listening, were you 86 something? You're killing
it's kitchen talk.
It's kitchen talk. We don't have it anymore, and or you're fucking killing we're killing it from our list. We're not gonna do it. That's kind of what I meant when I said 86. But they used to make fun of me at the restaurant because if there was even a hint that we didn't have, so I'm like, 86 this, and did you even check if we have it? I'm like, nah, I just don't want to make it anymore. 86, it's gone. We're not doing it.
86, it's done. Yeah. Or it's I remember one time I was working Salad Station, and it was 86 lettuce. Which lettuce? All of it.
Yeah. So, anyways, so
we're going to 86 recording soon. So
86 recording. We may 86 recording next week, but if we don't, Infinite Frontier 5 or Infinite Frontier 6 Excellence issue 11, Kazar number 1, and Black Manta number 1 are the books that we will be talking about next week. And if you're not already following us, make sure you follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at the Comic Lounge. Dylan at the Dillbot on Instagram. Dillbot is dope on Twitter. Like, follow, subscribe, hit the bell icon so you're notified every time a new video goes up. Throw those comments down below. We always like hearing your guys' thoughts on what we're doing.
I gotta answer that. I gotta answer that comment from last week's. One of last week's. Someone actually asked us a question on this, so I gotta answer it.
Oh yeah, I gotta answer it too. I know. I forget sometimes. And then the TeePublic link, Comic Lounge merch is available as well. And on that note, we're out.
Later, buds.